I saw Elon Musk's video about Neuralink and how humans even with phones are basically already cyborgs. And Neuralink is something you put in your that you interface with your brain directly, and it can like control a phone, for example, like hands-free. So pretty soon, people who were born blind, maybe they'll be able to see with something, or at the very least, if someone with total paralysis, below the neck or something like that, they're going to start controlling a phone with their mind, and probably far faster than a person with hands. So I was watching his video and I was like, well, I should make a video for Elon Musk. I'm a scientist, not an engineer, and I've got a unique perspective. And I even have a religious upbringing that kind of like, well, here's my claim. That literacy and being able to write and being able to read, that was when we became cyborgs. And when you put it in those terms, humans as a whole, our migration over to literacy is, it's still in progress. But I would say in the last 100 years or something like that, you can bracket off of the 100 last years we had to say that's when humans like became literate as a dominant force in informatic, the informatic network of information or whatever, So when you explore the ideas of language as an operating system, and this paradigm of literacy that, thinking about the last 100 years would be, it would help, it sort of helps you kind of come to terms with, this upgrade. The upgrade of literacy, because it was a dominant force in our civilization society. You can kind of like look at this lens. This is literacy happening. That's what the last 100 years looks like. So when you go back further and further and further, maybe you do not have written language at all, or maybe you have like William Shakespeare might be a great example, where Shakespeare was inventing new language. And, this is in the younger days of English itself. So young enough for a foolish writer to start getting mind share and, sort of like getting their early foot in the door to effect the evolution of the entire rest of English, probably. That's William Shakespeare. So you could look at the English language, I suppose, because anyway, to try and dial it back to technologies, paper, putting this serial string of phonemes, whatever, this thing that we do, the language, spoken language, at some point got sort of captured into the 2D and became, a piece of technology that allowed us to get language into our visual computers. It got into the GPU, right? Sound familiar? This is like, crypto mining is probably the most topical modern joke to make in that. But when you start thinking about language making us a cyborg, books making us a cyborg, you have to think of the Holy Bible. Because this is an enduring holy book. But when it was, 0 BC, a book was the best computer in town, probably. And if not the best computer in town, it might have been the best school in town. It may have been the best teacher in town. And it was a disruptive technology that some had and others did not. So there was a singularity that the books caused. You read a book, someone at some point read a book, then wrote a book, and someone read that book, and then they wrote another book. And there was a time when that happened for the very first time. And this type of way of thinking is extremely common, I believe, for a Scientologist. So I don't want to propose that this is, it's just like, it's nothing too big and lofty for anyone. But it's just nice to have the reminder every once in a while that even these simple things just completely changed the nature of what a human being was. And I think a lot of the Bible is about that itself. It is a tome of written word, but I believe it's a tome of written word from a time when written words were transforming minds, the human mind itself, in one of the easier, cyborg moments of human history. So I think some of that's captured in the Holy Bible, because that's what was going on at that period of time. So, I sincerely hope Elon sees this, and, maybe I phrased things in a way that he hadn't phrased them before, and, I know he's a billionaire, and as an upper middle class Democrat voting, if I'm not too afraid to, and liberal in general, I'm definitely not supposed to like billionaires, but I do like good conversation. And as a third wave feminist, if not other waves of feminists, I can probably, approximate a probability of, I'm supposed to take my knowledge of the objectification of a woman, the instant that he had, and project that into, I'm supposed to put him into a box of a probable sexual offender. But I'm not perfect either, and I hope I hope what I've heard about him is like the worst. Worst-ish. At least he's no Bill Gates. And heck, third wave feminists don't want to be, I don't know. Don't expect a productive dialogue were we ever to be on the same talk show. But I'm also putting this out here that I seem to have a weakness for Elon Musk. And that might not be a good thing. But you need to send me some better conversation. Otherwise, how am I supposed to, I don't know, be guardian and protect mainframe?